Hey everyone, thank you for joining me on another Brooklyn Baritone production. We out here casting pods. It's another beautiful day. But you know what? Whatever time of the day you choose to join me, morning, afternoon, late night, evening, it doesn't matter. I appreciate the likes, the looks, the listens, but of course, I'd appreciate you hitting that subscribe and notification bell on my YouTube channel, Brooklyn Baritone. Do that if you want to. No pressure from me whatsoever. Now, I know recently talked about how I was married and I just lost my wife, but I just want to reflect really quickly about the things that I've learned. One major aspect that's always going to stick out with me, as long as I'm breathing here on this earth, is that I had to learn as a man, how to love my wife as Yahushua HaMashiach loved his church, his assembly. You had to learn how to die to self. But I didn't learn by listening to a lot of podcasts. I didn't learn just by listening to a bunch of other people on social media platforms. But I and my wife, we immersed ourselves in the Word. She did her studies, I did my studies, and we tried our best. And how do you learn these things apart from the noise that's going out here? I'm glad you asked. Proverbs 9, verse 10. The reverence of Yahuwah is the beginning of wisdom. That's where it starts. It starts there. It doesn't start with Andrew Tate. It doesn't start with any feminism platform. It doesn't start with any manosphere platform. Because the majority of them out there are actually part of the problem. They'll highlight the problems, but they won't go to the ground root issue. They'll tell you things that you want to hear that sounds nice because you're in your feelings. And the problem is we get caught up in our feelings because we allow our heart to lead us. Our heart that we're always fighting with. Our heart that's always getting us into problems. Our heart that's full of emotion. A person, especially a man, is not supposed to be led by emotion. We have emotions, but we're not supposed to be led by them no matter how much and how strong the urge is. We control our emotions. Yahuah Almighty has emotions. This is where we get them from, but he is not led by them. You'll have control. There must be order because love and life have to prevail. Now let's get down to one of the things that so many people, especially women, may not enjoy hearing. Ephesians 5:22. Wives, subject yourselves to your own husbands as to the Adon, as to the father, as to the master. That means Yah is supposed to be the foundation that you utilize. Subject yourselves to your own husbands, just as you're supposed to Yahuwah. But that's only if the man that you're with is following Yahuwah. Can't be any old person. Don't matter how fly they are, how rigid their jaw looks. Doesn't matter how that thing be thangin'. It doesn't matter how much money they got. If they're not legitimately following, because you could go to church, but if your heart not following Yahuwah, then that's not what you're supposed to be following. Second part, Ephesians 25. Husbands, love your wives as Mashiach also loved the assembly, the church. He gave himself for it. Remember the whole cross thing? Remember, he came down from heaven just for a moment, forfeited a good amount of his abilities, even though he could have done any and everything any time while he was here. He was here to show us, gave up all those powers to come down here, right? And he didn't come into a castle. He didn't have a whole army full of white and gold armor. Nah, he came by himself. He was born in the manger, is basically where the animals feed at it. He came to town on a donkey. And while these other cats, these religious leaders, they were living the life of luxury. But it means die to self means you can't be selfish. You have to be selfless. There's this woman that you're with, she depends on you because women want to be secure. They want to be secure if they have to be secure. In order for them to be secure, you got to be secure. And then you also have to come out of your feelings and know this is the woman I'm choosing. We're choosing each other. We are sacrificing ourselves for each other. We are open to each other. No options, no side pieces, no sneaky links, no one sliding in DMs, no hookup culture, none of this nonsense that's out here that the manosphere would tell you, the red pills would tell you, all these other social media platforms that's geared garnered toward the women. No Derek Jacksons out here. You have to get into the word. You have to know who Yahuwah is. How you know Yahuwah is? You get into the word first and foremost. That's why you know who Yahuwah is. You get to know his person, his character. You get to know who Yahusha is. Then you figure out who is his church, who is his bride. Once you know who his bride is, then you can get an idea of the dichotomy of Yahusha and a church and a man and his wife. Is what it is. In Ephesians 5, verse 28. In this way, husbands ought to love their own wives as their own bodies. He who loves his wife loves himself. Now, I know this term narcissist came kicking around past 2 years really quick. You just love yourself. That's not really love yourself. You're just basically in vanity of yourself, or you just don't think of anything else or anyone else outside of you. And unfortunately, too many of us do that. I've been down that road. I call myself the weaker version of Corey when I think of some of the years when I was caught in a mindset, because I had to learn, not just the hard way, because when you're married, it's going to expose all the things that you never really repaired in yourself and in the other person, because you can drag the other person down, and likewise they could drag you down as well. At the same time, everything's going to be exposed because they're around you. They're around you when you fart. They're around you when you wake up. They know your habits, what you like, what you eat, what you like to do before you get up and leave to go to work. When you come home, you're open. It's not about having a facade. That's adversary talk. That's demonic talk. That's worldly foolishness. When you're open and you're honest with yourself, and then you're loyal to each other. And then I may feel a certain way, but you know what? For the greater good of this relationship, I'll put away my pettiness. I'll put away me wanting to spend money on that. I'll put away putting myself before you. These are one of the things that I've learned in my marriage. This is one of the things that I've learned even more so, more importantly, again, through the word. It starts with the word. Then you apply it every day. Sure, you could look and listen at podcasts. You could look at different social media platforms, because there's a lot of really good information out there. I'm not saying it's not there, but then you get caught up in that mindset. Society brews up some kind of soup and it scrambles your brains like eggs. And then you cooked out here. You cooked in your relationships. You cooked trying to find a proper mate when you don't even know what kind of mate to look for in the first place. It's harder now if you want to go find someone, because of the quality of life and the mindset that people have subjected themselves to, because a lot of people don't read the book. They don't care about Yahusha. Women don't want to subject themselves to women. A lot of men don't want to die to self. This is why everything is terrible. But if you want to unterrible things, you start with yourself. If you're in a marriage right now, start with the word. Then you got to start with yourself. Then you see how can you improve. You got to see how you can improve your partner, but you both have to do it. You both have to be humble. Subject yourselves to your husbands as you would your own. Husbands, love your wife as life, as Yahusha loved the church, and he gave himself for it. They are strong with many things because they're supposed to be our mate to help us to be capable of doing things that we can't do, but we're their stronger one, because we're supposed to personify Yahushua HaMashiach. We're supposed to personify the Adon, the Father, the Master. Not to be a master to dominate, but to have dominion. And as a true king who has true dominion, you don't look to see who can serve you, but you look to see how you can serve to make everybody better. That's all that I have. If you guys want to look at more of my content, you feel free to go to my website at brooklynbaritone.com. I have merch there and all types of other things there. You can go to my YouTube channel for other video content. I'm also on Instagram and on Facebook. You can also get the audio versions of these podcasts on Google, Amazon, and Apple. I air 4 times a week on Brooklyn Public Cable Television, Tuesdays and Thursdays at 12 a.m. and 2 p.m. on Verizon, Optimum, RCN, and Spectrum. Thank you guys for listening. I appreciate the company. Well, good. You'll hear from me next time.